Welcome, welcome. We are so glad that you're here. I am the Reverend Christine Dance, and I am honored to serve as the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. What a joyful day this is. We are here to affirm and ordain our beloved Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson. This is a sacred act, a covenantal act, a humble act. We have all such joy in this act today. We are glad to be able to participate. But I know that we also wish that we could be doing it in person. I know that we are grateful for the accessibility. We've got a number of people here before. We are grateful for the accessibility of an online service here, so even more people can participate. And we just wish we all could hug each other. We are so glad that we can do this, at least during these surreal pandemic times. With great humility, we understand that it is an act of love, of inclusion, of safety for the whole community to do this ceremony online. I am here in the sanctuary of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix, and there are 7 of us here representing 3 different pandemic pods. We've got Anthony, his beloved Lydia, their daughter, Natalie, and Lisa here. We have Sam Kirkland and Michelle Morgan, their own married pod, and chairs of the Ordination Committee, and myself. We are all sitting about 20 feet apart. We are masked when we are not on camera, and we are wiping down the pulpit in between speakers. We are so joyful to be here and celebrating this together, and we are respectful of the virus and the risks of doing even this that it takes. We do not take this gathering lightly or for granted. And even though all of us are watching this physically separate, there are participatory parts of this service. There is singing, there are reciting words of ordination, there is laying on of hands. I will tell you that no matter how odd it feels to do it from your home, please participate. This is a sacred act. This is an act of community, and you will feel something stir in yourself by participating. And I do want to remind you that this is a live event using ever-changing technology run by very able volunteers out of the kindness of their hearts and with an abundant list of participants. I am preemptively thanking you for the grace that you show us for any live moments that happen. At the conclusion of the ordination, we will have a toast for Anthony and then a reception where everyone can talk for a few minutes with each other and get to congratulate the soon-to-be Reverend Anthony in themselves. So Anthony, this is your day. Soak it in, feel the love that's surrounding you in every way. Let it buoy your spirit and your ministry. We rejoice in celebrating this with you. Let the celebration begin.
Okay. Oh yeah, thank you. I invite you to grab a chalice or a candle from your home as we recite our covenant and light our chalice together. Natalie Garcia will light our chalice. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to share our strength in fellowship, thus do we covenant. Hello, beloveds. I'm Sam Kirkland, chair of Reverend Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson's Ordination Committee and your worship associate for this special service today. On behalf of Anthony and Lydia, I'd like to thank everybody that helped, inspired, or partook of any portion of today's festivities. With his opening cry of Ashe from our pulpit here at UUCP, Anthony and I quickly became friends after he arrived at the congregation. I witnessed his impact on our congregation and felt his indelible mark upon what I thought Unitarian Universalism could mean. I'm certain that the same can be said for the congregants at Humboldt Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in California. I congratulate Anthony and wish him all the best as he marks this monumental milestone for himself and his family, and for helping move our Unitarian Universalist Association boldly and bravely into the future. Your next big McGillicuddy is on me, my brother. Thank you so much, Natalie Garcia, and our Katie Resendez will lead us in a call to celebration.
Good morning, everyone. Have you ever had the honor of sitting with Anthony in his office, or maybe next to him at worship service, or maybe you were lucky enough to share the chancel or the pulpit with him? If you haven't, I want you to imagine fresh bread, deep rocking music, or the feel of fine, fine sand cupped in your hands and held there with the weight. Get here, get to that feeling, get here to that place where you are with Anthony. Get comfy and get real. Being online with one another is not fake. We are together. We are choosing to celebrate across the miles, across the distance, across the span. We are choosing to be together in the deepest way possible. And may our distance be an offering to the gods of health, the goddesses of science and wisdom. May our celebration today shout, "This virus ain't got shit on us." We are going to celebrate. We are going to celebrate sitting on our living room floors, in our recliners, at our lunch tables. We are going to celebrate as we drive in our cars with the sounds of the voices today in the speakers. We're going to celebrate quietly because we're sitting at the bus stop watching this sacred ordination on tiny screens of our phones, listening to the songs of ritual through our headphones. We are going to celebrate. Take a moment, rock your body a little. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Take another. Let a huge smile creep across your face. Let Anthony's voice come through you, rising up from your belly. That deepest bass that you can get to. Feel it. Feel it pushing through you. Feel the path of all of our ancestors have gotten you here today. Feel those who came before us and those we are still anticipating Hear them in the quiet sounds of a creaking building, or the wind, or people passing by. Hear them, feel it. Feel your elders and our youngsters too. We're all here together to celebrate. And we are going to celebrate. You might have 5 senses, you might have 6 senses, you might have 20 senses. Feel it in all of your senses. Smell, sight, sound, time, emotion, memory. Now push that feeling into your hands, into your hips, into your hair, into your eyes. Sparkle those eyes. Remember that sparkle, the time that Mtuaswa noticed you for the first time in the room. Maybe haven't seen you for a week, a year, a month, or just an hour. And he looked at you, turned his head a little to the side, and sparkled at you. And those eyes said, there you are, inviting you to be wholly present and be your holy sacred self. That feeling when Anthony says, come, you are so invited. Let us celebrate together.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we learn to lead in love. Yay.
Thanks.
to extend the greetings to everyone with the greetings of peace. In the Arabic language, we say Assalamu alaikum. My name is Imam Alvin Sharif from the New Medina community in Summerall, Mississippi. And we thank God for this opportunity to say a prayer for this grand auspicious occasion, the ordination of Minister Anthony Johnson, a good friend of mine, an excellent friend of mine, my brother for 69 years. And we are thankful for this opportunity. And being of the Muslim faith, I like to say the prayer, the universal prayer that's in the Holy Quran, the first chapter. It's called Al-Fatiha, the opening. And I like to read those verses for this fine occasion. It begins with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. The thankful praise is for God, Lord of all systems of knowledge. The merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, sole owner of the day of judgment. You do we worship, and your help we beseech. Guide us on the straight path, the path of those whom you have bestowed your grace, your favor, not of those who have incurred wrath, nor of those who have gone astray. Amen or amen. And so, again, we thank God for our presence here, and we thank God for guiding Minister Anthony Johnson to strive to serve humanity. He's been blessed with many, many talents, and we pray that God bless him to use those talents, continue to use those talents to serve humanity. May God the Almighty bless Anthony Johnson, his family, and his ministry. And again, I say to you, as I came to you, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you.
Thank you so much for such a moving prayer. As we continue to breathe into this sacred moment, I wanted to take a few moments to introduce myself. My name is Reverend Chris Long. I have the good fortune of being the assistant minister at Community Church here in Manhattan, New York. Mtuaswa, and I am forever humbled that you've included me in this holy event in your life and in our communal lives. Anthony, who I consider a mentor, a sage, a colleague, and a friend, we met at Star King while he was a student, sitting there in study. Today, as we prepare to ordain him, I thought it best to also tie his ministry with the words of the first ordained African-American female minister within Unitarian Universalism, the Reverend Yvonne Sion. The title of her offering is Transcending Boundaries. Quote, "When I was a child, I would stand and gaze at the starry firmament and contemplate infinity. As I stood there, the boundary that is time dissolved. I expanded my spirit to fill the boundary that is space. My being still, and all fear, anxiety, and anguish disappeared. Forgotten were the chores, the homework, the ordinary around me. Transcending boundaries was fun in those days, but as I reached adulthood, it became more difficult. More and more, the world was with me as I did chores and homework. More and more, my own fears were with me as I encountered others. More and more, I was aware of the boundaries of race, class, age, and sex. I felt myself cringe as the bantering youth in the street came nearer. I felt myself become tearful as I encountered a senior citizen living with pain or limited choices of a fixed income. I felt myself become angry as I was subjected to the indignities of being rejected by others because I am Black, because I am a woman, or because of the blind person or the openly gay person I was with. I felt myself unwilling to acknowledge the oneness with the addicted person who is my friend, or the homeless people sleeping on the benches in the park. Today, transcending boundaries is hard work. For one thing, I've created more of them since I was young, and I've built them higher and stronger than they once were. For another thing, I'm much more self-righteous and much less humble than I was then. Sometimes when I'm at my best, I remember that the other I distinguish myself from could be me in another time, another place, another circumstance. Then I remember the words of a colleague who observed that it is my racism, my sexism, my homophobia that I am called upon to address. So I take a few deep breaths and I begin to release the fears that are the boundaries between me and my fellow humans. End quote.
Good morning. I want to thank you for asking me to preach on this important day during this extraordinary time. It grieves me that I cannot personally be there, that we cannot all be there together so that we might greet our brother personally. But like all of you, I will have to content myself with sending my love and my congratulations to Mtuaswa Anthony Johnson on the occasion of his ordination. Love to you. I have been a writer all of my life and a minister for almost 20 years, but my secret love is music. I do not play an instrument. I can carry a tune, but barely. But music speaks in ways I cannot, and I am envious of those with that power. I discovered jazz in college at a listening party among friends in my dormitory corridor who introduced me to Herbie Hancock and an album called Maiden Voyage. By the end of that year, I had joined the college radio station where I participated in producing a news show, but also embraced my newly acquired love of jazz by hosting a midnight to 3 a.m. jazz show. In part because I'm a night person and also because I was told I had a voice for radio. By then, of course, I had heard of John Coltrane, but I had not really heard John Coltrane. Woven throughout this service today are bits of his music. I started personally with his easier music, an album of ballads with strings. I reveled in his version of My Favorite Things, one of my favorite songs. But I was long gone from college, out in the working world, learning to live my life, before I was introduced to a love supreme. At first, some parts of it sounded like noise to me. Yet the older I grew, the more I listened, the more I understood the worship, the wonder, the yearning, the aspiration embedded in that four-part suite that combined perhaps the pinnacle of his art and the collaboration among the other players. And that title, A Love Supreme, it was another few years before I could relate to the longing behind that title. When Coltrane had composed this four-part suite, he had undergone a spiritual awakening just before. Amid the despair and bitterness and hopelessness of drug addiction, amid the continuing struggle for human and civil rights for Black people, music had become a lifeline back to his own selfhood and to his own genius. Through his music, he found his way to God. We are living in a time in which God's name is used not so much as solace as a weapon. The very sound conjures up images of hypocrisy and shame, not renewal and grace. But it was renewal and grace, beauty, and the holy things that spoke to and inspired the sacred music that Coltrane wrote. Through it, he spoke directly to that power greater than himself, which had given him his great gift of musicality. And that composition was his gift of gratitude and praise. The longer I live, the more I do ministry, the more I understand Coltrane's music and his motivations. I rarely speak anymore of persuading people that there is a presence greater than themselves. That argument has been resolved for me for some time now. And because I have experienced that greater power, indeed, that greater love, I want to suggest that we are living in a time so dire that a love supreme, a love greater than we can imagine, a love beyond our comprehension and our ability to identify its source, must be one of the tools in the toolkit we will need to live these next few months and years and decades before us. Love will be foundational for the saving of our society and our world. And I don't know about you, but I alone do not possess the power to love those we will have to learn to love. People are always reluctant to ascribe to themselves a moment in history that makes their actions crucial, even definitive. We usually try to talk ourselves into believing that things are not as bad as we imagine. But after the year we've all had, I think it's safe to say that our circumstances are dire. It's important for us to remember that we do have some degree of agency, that there are things we can do to help ourselves, our families, our neighbors, our communities. But I believe it's just as important to remember that if we draw only on our individual power, we are likely to fail. It will take the powers of earth and of heaven to help us alter the course that our country and our world have chosen. This love supreme that inspired Coltrane and that motivates so many is not a love romantic, not a love anemic, not a love so sweet. The love we need, a love that is supreme, puts us shoulder to shoulder arm in arm, side by side, moving together against the powers of disorder and despair and evil. Just as we must struggle to adjust to the reality of this powerful measure of love, we must grapple with the reality of evil. And this is not one of our strengths as progressive religious people. Though this evil has revealed itself within the current political structures of our nation, we face not a political issue, but a moral issue. A moral issue. Contrary to the myths that abound in popular culture, we progressive people have moral values, all of which have been violated in this moment. Those of us who have been called into the work of ordained ministry have a specific role to play in the naming and identification and reflection upon evil. But we are not alone in that work. We are joined by you. Life as we now live it, life that we must pass through the fire of thought, to paraphrase Emerson, includes understanding and identifying what puts us and others in danger, not just our physical selves, the dangers that threaten the minds and the hearts of individuals and communities. Our souls are in danger too. These past several years have made us rougher, more cynical, less charitable, less kind. The pandemic in which we are all struggling right now has made us despairing, phobic, and exhausted. We are uncertain of what will happen, whether the political commitments we have made will lead to a new sense of possibility, or whether our fragile democracy can even survive. It is that power greater than we can see, that undergirds all things, that upholds each of us, that speaks in the language of friendship and community, the language of art and music, all of these things and more. They are our connection with the holy, and we will need to lean on all the holiness we can find in life in order to heal ourselves and our country and our planet. Those raw, passionate notes found throughout Coltrane's most important work echo our own struggles, our own longings, our own gratitude for the chance for a path forward. John Coltrane may not have lived through a pandemic, but he was trapped in the hellish illness of addiction. He was surrounded by a world that did not value his blackness or respect it. And yet, in his struggle to be healed, he found a conduit so that the gifts he had been given might find their way out into the world, a world that even then did not understand the beauty and grace of his music and did not miss what they had until he was gone, a short 2 years later. But we are not gone. We are still here, still alive, still grappling with this troubled, beautiful, broken, glorious world. What will strengthen us in these days? What will uplift us? What will give us energy to meet whatever is to come? Sometimes it is in our moments of greatest struggle and sorrow that we find a pathway to the transcendent, even when we are not looking for that pathway. Sometimes grace allows it to appear. I argue that we need that conduit now, not to abandon our responsibilities to the world and its people, to ourselves and our communities, but to bolster it, to partner with God in the work of healing the world. That is a task that relies on love. Perhaps a love greater than we are used to which we have not yet come to understand or to rely upon. But it is a love worthy of testing particularly now, when hopelessness is often our daily diet? Should we not try to connect our hearts to that supreme and transcendent love? Should we not test and discover whether that love is reliable and trustworthy? It is that greater love which carries so many of us through the worst times in our lives. It is that love that invites so many of us into the very best experiences of our lives. It is that love that encourages us to embrace others, to create partnerships and communities of memory and hope. On this morning, I honor my friend Anthony, his path to service, his embrace of ordained ministry, his reliance on the holy. On this morning, I call on you, imbued with spirit, to turn your attention and your blessing on this new minister, as well as to all those who have formally taken up this work wherever we are. On this morning, I ask that you send embracing prayer to one another as you struggle to create the communities that we all deserve, and that you rely on love and its power to transform all things, and to do that in everything that you do, modeling for others what we want for ourselves. May the love that casts out all fear, that heals all brokenness, that brings peace to every heart and justice to all, be always our collective North Star. Blessed be, Ashe, and Amen.
I've got a roof over my head, got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. Got a heart that can hold love. I've got a mind that can think. There may be times when I lose the light and let my spirit sink, but I can't stay depressed when I remember how I'm blessed. Grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. Strangers, I've got a family of friends. No matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, I know that they will stay until the end. I feel a hand holding my hand. It's not a hand you can see, but on the road to the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight and always there. Grateful, truly grateful I am. that may sling. We can moan or we can sing. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. Truly blessed and duly grateful. Thanks, Benji. Thanks, Mary.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Margaret O'Neill. I serve as the developmental minister at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And I was blessed for the 2 years before I came to New Jersey to serve as the interim minister of the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Phoenix. And it is good to be with so many friends. One of the gifts of my service at UUCP was that I got to meet Anthony Johnson. I got to hire Anthony Johnson, and I've had the gift of walking some part of his path with him as he has moved deeper into his ministry and prepared for ordination. There's a long tradition in Unitarian Universalist ordinations of taking an offering for purposes that benefit UU ministries and causes, especially those that are most precious and meaningful to the ordinand. As Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson has come to the service of ordination in all his power and commitment, he has selected 2 recipients for today's offering so that it will be split evenly between the UUA Living Tradition Fund and Black Lives UU Blue. These are times that call us forth into the power of our ministries, into the power of our principles and our commitments. Now more than ever, it is crucial to support the ministers who serve this Unitarian Universalist tradition, honoring and supporting the leadership that sustains us. Now more than ever, it is crucial to support the movement for Black lives as we work for the breakthrough in our society to address ancient wrongs and to move forward on a new path. The Living Tradition Fund, established by the UUA in 1988, provides 3 types of support for ministry. Needs-based scholarships for theological students who have completed a full year of theological education, new minister assistance to reduce the heavy burden of high educational debt and repayment, and emergency assistance grants to seminarians, ministers, religious professionals, other congregational staff, retired ministers, and their loved ones. It is a sad thing that service to Unitarian Universalism can sometimes leave a person in poverty, and that is absolutely the case. And so we support those who lead our ministry. Many among us have benefited from this fund at the beginning or late in their ministerial careers, and it is a crucial resource to support ministry, especially in these challenging times. Generosity of individuals, congregations, and districts, well, that would be now regions, helps to strengthen and support our professional ministry by keeping this important resource available. Since their founding in 2015, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism works to expand the power and capacity of Black UUs within our faith, to provide support, information, and resources for Black UUs, and to lead for justice making and liberation through our faith. Their first principle of Black Lives reads, quote, "The movement for Black Lives calls on the Unitarian Universalist faith, a faith willing to make the bold proclamation to that claim by working toward," let me try that again, "calls on the Unitarian Universalist faith, a faith willing to make the bold proclamation that each person inherently matters, to live up to that claim by working toward a future in which Black lives are truly valued in our society. We call on UUs to actively resist notions that Black lives only matter if conformed to white middle-class norms, and to challenge assumptions of worth centered around clothing, diction, education, or other status. Our value, the value of Black lives, is not conditional. Your generosity today supports Blue's vision to harness love's power to combat oppression and foster healing as a spiritual and political imperative, as they affirm the power of love to be life-changing, inclusive, relational, uncomfortable, unconditional, and without end. You can easily donate through PayPal through the QR code on this slide or the link on the Ordination website. Or if you prefer to write a check, you can send it to the UU Congregation of Phoenix with a memo note indicating it is for Anthony's ordination. The QR code and link for PayPal and the congregation's address will be shown in just a moment. For all our ministries and for the value of Black lives in our faith movement and throughout our society, we invite you to dig deep, give from your heart, give for the power of love and our shared hope as we create the future together. Blessed be.
Much good. Thank you.
I hope you all can see me. I'm Johnny Lifshitz. I'm the president of the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Phoenix. And together with me is Dave Marshak. Dave, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm have the honor of being the co-president of the Humboldt Unitarian Universalist Fellowship.
Thank you. In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, the authority and privilege of ordaining ministers rests solely within the democratic process of local congregations. With a vote to ordain a minister, we declare to all other congregations in our faith that we affirm this minister, their ministry, and their call to serve our faith in the world. We are mindful of both the joy and the responsibility that comes with this power. It's a special covenant, a sacred promise that exists between the ordination candidate and the ordaining communities, made with trust and with mutual respect. We call from among you Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson.
Anthony, and I'm happy to be able to see you as I say this. You've preached in our pulpits, you've taught our children in religious education, sang with us in our choirs, headed our committees, helped us to live into our mission and vision statements, and led our congregations in further pursuit of racial justice. We've watched you grow into your calling.
We have celebrated in your completion of the Master of Divinity degree from Star King School for the Ministry, your chaplaincy at Banner Medical Center in Phoenix, your internship with the Sedona Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, your leadership positions as a minister with the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix, and with the Humboldt Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Bayside, California. And we honor the beginning of your journey at the Our Home Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Ellisville, Mississippi. We celebrate the affirmation of your credentialing by the Unitarian Universalist Association's Ministerial Fellowship Committee.
No matter where you go with your ministry, we hope that you know that you will always be a part of us. Today, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix and the Humboldt Unitarian Universalist Fellowship recognize and affirm your calling to the Unitarian Universalist ministry, and we offer you our blessings.
Anthony, are you ready to accept ordination to the Unitarian Universalist ministry?
I am.
Good answer.
To all those of you who are watching, this is the interactive part of our process. While we are together digitally, our spirits are connected. We will be calling out certain groups of people. Please stand at your home and participate as you are able and comfortable. Your role is critical in this process. If you want to take a picture of yourself showing your commitment, you can add it to the ordination post on the UU Congregation of Phoenix Facebook page. Will the members of the Humboldt UU Fellowship and the UU Congregation of Phoenix please rise in body or in spirit? Are we ready to ordain Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson into the ministry?
We, the members
of
the
the Unitarian Universalist
Congregation
of Phoenix
and the Humboldt
Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Bayside, California,
do hereby
ordain you,
Anthony
Mtuaswa Johnson,
to the
Unitarian Universalist ministry.
Anthony, We charge you to preach words of truth and words of freedom, always in love. Act in the service of justice and compassion, encourage spiritual growth, offer a presence of radical welcome, and celebrate the fullness and wonder of life.
We challenge you to carry out your ministry with authenticity, imagination, and humor. We promise to support you with love, hope, and peace. Now, Huff and UUCP, let's all read this together.
We, the members
of the Unitarian
Congregation
of Phoenix
and the
Humboldt Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Bayside, California,
do
hereby ordain you, Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson, to the Unitarian Universalist ministry.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, Johnny. Thanks to everyone. So in the name of and in the honor of all my ancestors, those I know, those I do not know, and those who know me better than I know myself, I simply say, thank you. I stand on those shoulders, and it is with a sense of humbleness and gratitude for the abundant love that is within all of y'all and within of me that I accept this ministry to which you ordain me. Gracias.
I invite our guests from the Sedona Unitarian Universalist Teaching Congregation and Anthony's home congregation, our home Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Ellisville, Mississippi, to stand as they are able and willing to affirm Anthony's ministry. And say with us, we
the members of Anthony's teaching congregation
and his
home congregation, witness and bless this ordination.
We send you into the ministry with the unity of our spirit, the bond of peace, and the strength
of our love. Will all who wish to add their love and encouragement to the Reverend Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson, please rise in body or spirit and join in an affirmation of his ordination. Anthony,
with joy
and pride, we affirm your ordination.
May your ministry nourish you and become a source of healing and transformation in the world. Let the people say, Amen, blessed be, and Ashe. And I have the distinct privilege to say, it's official. Congratulations, Reverend Johnson. Now let us bestow you with gifts.
Oh, the fun part. We get some gifts. Hi, I know you.
Bertie, on behalf of the Ordination Committee, could you please present this stole to Anthony?
Thank you, Cynthia. Anthony, as co-president of the Humboldt Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, I hereby present this stole to you in honor of your ordination. You were with us for too short a time, yet your future is unlimited. Lydia, would you be so kind as to place this stole on Anthony's shoulders?
That was magic. Woo, thank you, honey bunny. Oh, yeah, that's a sweetie. Wow. Beautiful. Yeah. Fresh. Oh, that's sweet. Thank y'all so much. That's just borderline awesome. In fact, yeah. Yeah. Oh, the black pops it out too. Ooh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Humboldt. Love all y'all. Yeah, it's a sweetie. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like a minister now.
Action. There are a lot of stories as to why ministers wear stoles. Some say it's like the cloth that Jesus used to wash the feet of his disciples. So it's a symbol of service to the people.
In Rome, it was a symbol of power and status.
So there's a lot of responsibility that comes with the role. And we know that it's not always comfortable to be in a new position. But we also know, especially in our time, that there are things that can sometimes help. Like maybe a piece of sandpaper to scratch, or headphones to quiet the sound, something to protect you from the wind, or maybe a weighted blanket to hold and settle you. As you step into your new role, we hope that you know, and that you know each time you don a stole, that you are held, and you are so very loved, and you are so very powerful, as you work to make our world, our faith, and our congregations more awesome and beautiful.
The children of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix and their adult communities would like to present this as a symbol of your ordination as a new minister in our faith.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So the stole isn't here physically, but I am in the spirit of bestowing the Phoenix stole.
Thank you. I did too. Special boy. Thank you, beloved. And thanks to all of y'all. Thank you, Katie and the family out there. That was a blessing too. And thanks to everyone from Humboldt. Blessed be. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. And I stay up here, don't I?
Good afternoon. I am the Reverend Sherman Logan, and I have the privilege of serving the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Richmond, Virginia, as its executive minister. Today, I have the honor of leading this ritual of laying on of hands for my colleague, my friend, my brother, the Reverend Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson, on this sacred occasion of his ordination. Friends, we live in this time of pandemic, and I am saddened that most of us cannot physically participate in the laying on of hands ritual in Anthony's presence. However, we are gathered here today as colleagues, family, friends, with the ministering hands of our religious tradition and the ministering hands of both the Phoenix and Humboldt congregation, united in our support of the ministry of Reverend Anthony. Now let us come together in the spirit of covenant, laying on of hands and offering our heart's consent. I invite Reverend Anthony to step forward. Anthony, please place your hands over your heart. Feel its precious beating. Feel to the stirring of your spiritual heart, and let its compassion and wisdom radiate into your receiving hands. May your hands, when in service to the human spirit, have the power to bless with a touch that heals, a touch that comforts. May your hands, when pledging and covenant to serve our neighbors, have the power to transform through service that strengthens, service that liberates. Now, I invite your beloved Lydia, who is standing beside you, to place her hands on your shoulder. Lydia, you have stood by Anthony's side during the best of times and the worst of times. You have stood by his side as he answered his call and started on his path to ministry. You have been by his side when others were not. So it is fitting today that you are the one that can be physically present with Anthony today, placing your hand on his shoulder. So Lydia, I ask that you serve as a representative of our colleagues and members of the Phoenix and Humboldt congregation. And in the next few moments, as I call the name of a group, I ask that you give a squeeze on Anthony's shoulders, symbolizing the laying on of hands. I invite our colleagues, those who are present with Anthony, and those who are joining us virtually, to participate in the art of placing your hands over your hearts. In this way, you add your blessings, and symbolically the blessings of the ancient and living tradition of colleagues connecting with the spirit of life and love. Join us in this solemn celebration. Now I invite the members and friends of the Phoenix and Humboldt congregation to place your hands over your heart, bringing your blessings to all who join together and symbolizing the ancient line of congregation who join with you in a living tradition, connecting with the spirit of life and love. Join us in this solemn occasion. Now I invite you to join me in prayer. Spirit of life and love, God of our understanding, let ours be praying hands reaching out with the blessed energy rising in our souls and offering freely in the service to the Reverend Anthony Johnson. Let him know that he has the support of family, friends, colleagues, and members of the community, and he will never be alone. May Reverend Anthony, empowered by the spiritual gift, give voice to the inspiring message of Unitarian Universalists. May he be a force of transformation and liberation, a vessel of compassion and love, and may be a sustaining presence, bearing faithful witness to the beloved community. Let the spirit-filled light of this religious community pour into every room, shine forth from every window as a beacon of welcome to all hearts and hands and of the hospitality to all souls. Blessed be, Amen, Ashe.
It was nearly 7 years ago that Brother Anthony came to my home in Sedona, Arizona, in the shadow of Thunder Mountain, sat down on my couch, and told me he wanted to become a Unitarian Universalist minister. I don't recall how I responded with words. I just recall the long pause of silence before I spoke. My internal dialogue was this: how can I be encouraging and welcoming and supportive of Anthony's call while also being honest and authentic in sharing my knowledge about the journey ahead? That dialectic continued as I mentored Anthony these many years. During his seminary time at Star King, his internship at the Sedona UU Fellowship, his ministries in Phoenix, Arizona, and in Humboldt, California, and the visits to the Ministerial Fellowship Committee. The core nugget of wisdom I want to offer today is what I was offered again and again when I started out by veteran UU ministers, which is stay connected to your ministerial colleagues. Stay active in the UU Ministers Association cluster meetings. Stay engaged in collegial study groups and support groups. Seek out mentoring relationships as well as informal friendships. The reason for all of this, paradoxically, is that ministry can be isolating. And the ministers who get in trouble have often fell away from collegial relationships. You can think of collegial relationships as a balm that will nurture your health, the health of your ministry. Now, this is not my first time telling Anthony this. I've told him this in various ways over the years, and it is clear he has taken it to heart. It has warmed my heart to witness this ordination, as these many ministerial colleagues participating in the ordination today are colleagues that Anthony's ministry and presence has already deeply touched. I see the deep, healthy relationships with colleagues he has built and nurtured and maintained. May they continue, may they grow in depth and breadth. The tradition now is to extend a hand in fellowship to symbolize in the flesh the collegial welcome. Since we are in a time of pandemic and at a distance, and since we both enjoyed the Black Panther movie, I will welcome you as a colleague with this. Wakanda forever. Many blessings, Anthony, and welcome.
I was ordained in 1967 and have been blessed over the decades to provide some mentoring and support for newer ministers. And I'm especially honored at this late stage in my life to be asked by Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson to deliver his ministerial charge. The modest length of our relationship is surpassed by its immense depth. We're chosen brothers who actively respect and love one another. Our paths crossed unexpectedly a few years ago when Anthony sought counsel about men's spirituality and support in our Unitarian Universalist congregations. After attending one of our San Diego men's retreats, he made a special effort to spend personal time with me. In Anthony, I engaged a joyful and prophetic elder who was intrepidly addressing our pressing societal need to dismantle patriarchy. His research project at Star King School for the Ministry was titled Embracing a UU Future Masculine, and was utterly on target. For when men change, the world can change. Or as Anthony put it from his own personal journey, how a macho, misogynistic thug became a feminine postulant. Folks, you won't hear a bolder or braver testimony than that from any self-identified male in today's world. We rapidly struck a visceral and heartfelt bond, becoming buddies in faith, hope, and love. He and I have since talked regularly on the phone, and Anthony stayed a couple times at our home here in San Diego with Carolyn and me in order to thicken our mutual respectfulness. He calls me his PLP, professional loving pest, adding, Tom, I welcome your push. But I assure you folks, the push goes in both directions. And yes, Ruth, Lydia, Karma, and all his precious family members, we've gabbed caringly about you as well. Family trumps all for Brother Anthony. And I'm not sure there could be a more important memoir for our Unitarian Universalist movement, and for that matter, our American society, than the one Anthony is currently crafting. Ranging from his familiarity with Chicago gang violence, immersion in the Black Muslim movement, to a pioneering, varied, and distinguished professional journey of military leadership, IBM management, and TV production, plus a spirituality deeply soaked in African naturalism, justice making, and shamanic divination. I'm truly honored that Anthony's currently inviting me, a white geezer, to give feedback on the content of his radical biography, Tap Dancing on a Razor Blade.
Man.
You see, Anthony writes and speaks precisely as he lives. daringly, and soulfully. And amidst his ministerial evolution, he has always remained playfully humble. I used to think I was too sinister to be a minister.
Oh, look at you. Look at you.
Time is short and connections are extra precious during this time of the rampaging pandemic and racial violence. So let me get right to a simple ministerial charge. We Unitarian Universalists are celebrating the centennial anniversary, 250th anniversary of John Murray preaching on American soil at Good Luck Point in New Jersey, September 30th, 1770. When this grieving minister, he had just both lost his wife and a young child, crossed the ocean from Great Britain to launch our gospel of hope, courage, and the everlasting love of God. Nothing new here for you, Anthony. You already cherish and practice our mission of unyielding hope, steadfast courage, and universal love. But I can't help but prompt you, as well as the rest of us, on this blessed day of your ordination to UU ministry. I'm just your PLP, urging you once again to keep preaching and keep embodying our gospel however and wherever you and Lydia choose to plant your beings. I invite you to wake up every morning as one of our newly ordained moral sentinels and spiritual servants and ask yourself, what's the most hopeful, most courageous, and most loving thing I can do today? That's our gospel. And your job description, Anthony, as the UU minister, is to live by and to through and to live inside it. Nothing more and nothing less. For we believe that every living being is welcomed into existence via everlasting love and returns upon death to the embrace of that same reality. And during our lifetimes, we're summoned to become more hopeful and courageous practitioners of divine love. Loved, we love in return. As your PLP, I prompt you, my dear brother, to work and play ceaselessly to make our world more joyful and just, and then to relinquish the final results, remembering along with Murray that all of us are ultimately held in the arms of eternal love. Rest assured, as our Universalist ancestors put it. So Anthony, work and play your tail off, and then rest assured. Rest assured. In closing, I would sing one of our signature chants, composed by Rebecca Parker, words, and Beth Norton, music. A simple song which captures the soul of our gospel and the core of your calling. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. We rest in this love.
Tom. I know how to pick them, Don.
Give Anthony a little time to absorb all that as we turn now to each other, to the congregations. I'm Bonnie McGregor. I'm a member of the Humboldt Unitarian Universalist congregation. I was on Anthony's ministerial search committee and met a number of the ministers who are in this room today with us. And it is a great pleasure for me to, still being in the congregation, give the final charge of the morning this day to the congregations who have ordained Reverend Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson here today. So this is a charge to you and to me, but if you would allow me, I would like to extend this charge to all of us in the wider fellowship who is gathered here today, because though it sounds like a very simple charge, it is, in fact, the work of these times and will be the work of our lifetimes. My charge to us is that our work as congregations is to create the beloved community. In the act of ordination today, we charged Anthony to preach words of truth and liberation, and to act in the service of justice and compassion, and to do that always in the spirit of love, offering a presence of radical welcome as we celebrate the fullness of the wonder of life, and to be doing this with authenticity and imagination and humor. Well, now, doesn't that sound like a prescription for how to create the beloved community? So really, what we, the congregations, are doing is co-creating with him and this array of wonderful ministers. We are co-creating the beloved community. So then it is our charge as congregants to align ourselves with the truth he speaks and to step out with him in acts of justice and compassion, always in the spirit of love, harnessing that love's power so that together we can combat oppression and foster the healing of each heart and soul that will bring us all into that beloved community. So that is our role, our task. We are the practitioners of the ministry we acknowledge in him. We are the embodiment of that multi-culti beloved community he engenders in us. We are in ongoing becoming with him as he develops and grows in stature. Because this covenant of ordination is a forever thing. We know he will go forth and bring this ministry where he is called to go. But we will always be his touchstone, his coming home place. We are the people who will always reflect back to him who we know him to be, so that when he gets weary and discouraged, and he will, he can remember who he really is, because he knows that we see him. We love him. We emulate him. And we are always by his side and have his back. So, Reverend Anthony, with this promise of our support, we want to offer you now a special community blessing. It is literally a multifaceted reflection that you can come back to time and time again, wherever you are and whenever you need to remember. Just tune in.
Thank you, daughter of mine. And thank you to everyone out there. I am full up. I am full up. I am more than grateful. Whatever is beyond grateful, I am that. I am grateful for all of you who showed up, and for all of those who I take with me. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart. To all those ancestors that are watching, thank you. They say, and I know there is no place where spirit is not. And I know I called you in, so please stay here if you must and go if you will. I am simply radiating gratitude, radiating gratitude, radiating gratitude in all directions. The whole Mtuaswa and all my relations. Thank you all. Blessed be. Amen. Ashe. See you when I see you. We've been struggling so long, we must be free.
Before we conclude our celebration this morning, we'd like for you to go find a cup and a beverage of some sort so we can at least toast our brand new Reverend Anthony. Immediately following this, we invite you to our reception. We'll gather as a large group and then we'll go into breakout rooms where we can meet others and briefly share what word we associated with our brother Anthony. The details for the room will be on the final slide, and the link will be in the chat. Now, everybody ready? Let's raise our glasses to the Reverend Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson. May you find peace, fortitude, and wisdom as you deepen in this chapter of your life. Your ordination enriches our Unitarian Universalist denomination. Ashe.